Ancient Rome, the greatest city on Earth. Romans cleaned clothes using human urine. Entire apartment buildings sometimes collapsed without warning. Gladiators became celebrities admired across the empire. Many Romans feared curses, omens, and angry spirits. The streets smelled of smoke, sewage, sweat, and animals. And in public toilets, strangers shared the same sponge. This was everyday life in ancient Rome. Long before sunrise, the city was already awake. Merchants shouted across crowded streets, while wagon wheels rattled over stone roads. Bakers prepared bread as smoke filled the cold morning air. Above the chaos, entire families crowded into unstable apartment buildings called insulae. For millions of Romans, this was simply another ordinary morning. By the 2nd century AD, Rome had become one of the largest cities on Earth. More than 1 million people crowded inside the empire's capital. The city never truly rested. Markets, bathhouses, taverns, and temples pulsed with constant movement. To ancient visitors, Rome probably felt like the center of the world. But beneath Rome's glory, most citizens lived difficult lives. The poorest families lived at the top of dangerous apartment blocks. Water rarely reached the upper floors. Entire families often shared a single cramped room. And when fires broke out, entire neighborhoods could vanish overnight. For the wealthy elite, Rome looked completely different. Rich senators lived surrounded by imported marble, colorful mosaics, and private courtyards. Servants and slaves handled much of the daily labor. While poor families struggled for survival, the elite displayed enormous wealth. The gap between rich and poor in Rome was enormous. Bread formed the foundation of Roman life. Most ordinary citizens survived on bread, olives, beans, and watered wine. Keeping the giant city fed became one of the emperor's greatest responsibilities. Without constant grain imports, Rome itself could collapse into chaos. Food shortages sometimes pushed the city dangerously close to unrest. Walking through Rome assaulted every human sense. Garbage, sewage, sweat, and cooking fires filled the hot air. Animals wandered freely through the streets. Yet despite the filth, Rome remained astonishingly advanced for its time. Aqueducts carried fresh water across enormous distances into the heart of the empire. In Rome, clothing instantly revealed social status. The famous toga was reserved mainly for Roman citizens and the wealthy elite. Most workers wore simple wool tunics built for survival and labor. Even from a distance, Romans could often identify a person's rank in society. Survival in Rome depended on exhausting physical labor. Blacksmiths forged weapons inside blazing workshops. Dock workers unloaded cargo, arriving from every corner of the empire. Street merchants sold hot food to passing crowds. But beneath much of Rome's economy stood an enormous system of slavery. Roman society was deeply dominated by men. Yet women still played essential roles in daily Roman life. For poor women, survival meant endless work from sunrise until nightfall. Childbirth remained extremely dangerous. Many children never survived into adulthood. Education depended almost entirely on wealth. Rich boys studied philosophy, rhetoric, mathematics, and law. Poor children usually worked instead of attending school. Yet Roman children still played games surprisingly similar to ours. After exhausting days of labor, much of Rome gathered at the bathhouses. These enormous complexes served as the social heart of Roman life. Some bathhouses contained gardens, libraries, gyms, and meeting halls. Roman engineering even allowed heated floors and steam rooms centuries ahead of their time. Roman hygiene could be surprisingly advanced and deeply disturbing at the same time. Public toilets lined long stone benches where strangers sat side by side. Instead of toilet paper, many Romans used a sponge attached to a stick. The sponge was often shared between multiple people. Even Rome's advanced sanitation could not fully stop disease from spreading through the crowded city.